Reading corner of the day, doing it SpongeBob's way, bop. Today we are learning about the American Water Spaniel. Look at him, he's on a little couch. Look how small he is. Think about the size of a couch cushion. His little paw is the size of the crevice of the couch cushion. That's a leather couch cushion, probably designed in the 90s. So you know those were not really built to last. So you know that there's actually not a lot of space in between those cushions, a lot of dirt, and a lot of hair from that dog right there builds up in it. And his little paw just fits there. Just fits there. So, yeah. You know how small the doggy is, and look how big the dog is. It's actually not that big of a dog, really. How tall is he? The average on height of... Oh, wow. They are small dogs. Oh, my goodness. You'll learn about that by the end. But before I make fun of the small stature of this dog, we need to know the history. As you should know, before you make fun of anything or try to give an opinion on it, you have to know the history. So the history of the American Water Spaniel, Spaniel, Spada-Baboo, Spaniel is a really cool name. So the history of the American Water Spaniel, opposed to any other Water Spaniel, is that it's exactly when and where or from the American Water Spaniel was developed was never recorded. Its appearance strongly suggests a smaller version of the Irish Water Spaniel, and is likely is derived from the breed or its earlier versions, the Northern, Southern, and Tweed Water Spaniels. The curly-coated retriever and its forebear, the English Water Spaniel, may have also played a role. Some theories of the credit American Indians who lived in Great Lakes regions and creators of the breed. Whatever its origin, the Water Spaniel first became established and recognizable breed by the Midwestern parts of the United States, where it was unsurpassed as a hunting companion. This small dog has waterproof coat and keen nose could hunt through rough thickets. Spring came and retrieved all the manner of game and from land and water, often marking several fallen birds before retrieving them unfailingly, until it was recognized by the AKC, or the American Kennel Company, in 1940. No one ever considered breeding these dogs for anything but hunting ability. Even after recognition, the breed's forte remained in the field, and its rarity in the show ring or even at home. Today, the American Water Spaniel is among the least known of AKC, American Kennel Company, recognized breeds, despite being one of the 2 sporting breeds developed in America. In fact, the American Water Spaniel is the state dog of Wisconsin. Wow. So the state of Wisconsin's sport dog, aka the American Water Spaniel, is not a very known breed. I thought this was another breed of dog, but I guess I was incorrect. As it says, it was a mix of curly-coated retrievers, which is the exact breed I was thinking of. So, yeah, that's really cool to know. Now you want to own one of these pipe-sized pups. So, what's the temperament of these silly little dogs? Well, the temperament of the American Water Spaniel, did I spell that right? Spaniel? Oh my goodness, I didn't spell that right. Well, that's a little treat for y'all. I didn't spell spaniel right. It's spelled I-E-L, not I-A-L. But just for you guys, I need that explained. I spelled that wrong, but for this episode, you guys get that little treat called a spelling error. If you go down to the comments and give me proof that you guys have actually caught that before, I'll give you an emoji. I don't know what emoji yet, but I'll give you one of those. So, the temperament of the American Water Spaniel, as I spelled it, or Spaniel, as it's properly spelled, is that its name implies the American Water Spaniel is a natural lover of water. Not only is it a skilled retriever and versatile hunter, but it also is a tractable, fun-loving family dog. As long as it gets regular physical and mental exercise, it is sensitive and willing to please. Some can be timid, generally good with other dogs in the household. Some are aggressive towards strange dogs. Barking can be a definite problem. Some also whine or drool. Oh, these doggies drool. They're silly. They're very silly dogs. But they drool, they whine, they make noises, and they're funny and fuzzy. Now, what are the temperament? What do I have to do for this dog, Stonesy? Tell me this. Tell me this now. No, I'm sorry, the upkeep. What is the upkeep for this dog? Not the temperament. We just read the temperament, you fool. So, the upkeep of the American Water Spaniel is that, like all hunting dogs, the American Water Spaniel needs daily exercise. Although these requirements can be met with a long walk, it does best dividing its time between indoors and outdoors. Its coat is oily and needs weekly brushing. Hair may be clipped from the feet to top knot. Ears should be checked regularly. Ooh, so speaking of being checked regularly, if you are a child, please cover your ears, for this is the worst part of owning a dog. And if you are an adult or a teenager, please keep your ears wide open, for we shall now be talking about the health of the American Water Spaniel. Now, for the major concerns that you need to look out for this dog is the mitral valve disease. I don't know what that is exactly, but if it's mitral valve disease and it's a valve, the only places that could be located with a valve on an animal, I believe, is the throat or the appendix. So, keep an eye on their breathing habits, see if that's a problem. Their minor concerns are PDA, pulmonic stenosis, and CHD. I believe that just means, like I said before, throat, hip, thigh, whatever. And they're occasionally seen with patellar luxation and PRA. Again, same places. And suggested test is cardiac, hip, and eye. So yeah, keep an eye on all those. I'd also just say get the dog checked out fully. And their lifespan is 10 to 12 years. Now, if you are an adult or a teenager and you have a kid listening to this, please grab them by the hands and, rip them off and, maybe even shake their head a little bit because they need to keep themselves entertained. So, now we have to go to the second and final thing before the countdown. The form and function. For the form and function of the American Water Spaniel packs a lot of ability into the comparatively small dog. Its muzzle is long and strong enough to carry a large goose, and its strong quarters to propel it through water and over land. It's slightly longer than tall, solidly built and muscular. The coat can range from uniform waves, marcel, to close curls, with a dense undercoat. This combination provides protection against weather, water, and briars. The ears are well covered with hair, which should not grow their ear canal. The gait is balanced in reach and drive. Now, for the final part, we have the tier list. So basically, let me explain this to you as quickly as I can, as I've done 100 times. 5 is the best or could be the worst. 4 could be better or 8 could be worse. 3 is average, like the other dogs. 2 is low. Oh no. Oh god. 1 is the worst, the bad it can be, depending on the tier list. What can it be? Okay, so now, the energy level of the American Water Spaniel is a 4, so it's above average. It's pretty good. It can run around. The exercise requirements is a 3. Just take it on a nice long walk across the beach. It'll do fine. The playfulness of the dog is 4, above average for any other dog. So he goes, it's good. The affection level and friendliness towards other pets is a 3, so this dog can be trusted if trained properly. To, be around other pets like cats and stuff. Friendliness towards dogs, however, is a 2. I guess they're quite defensive depending their coats and the size of themselves. Friendliness towards strangers is also at a 2. So, again, with size and such, they could be bad. Their ease of training is at a 3, so average. As long as you don't do anything to scare this dog, you should be fine. Their watchdog ability is at a 4, with their protection ability being at a 3. So they'll be able to see and protect you pretty well, considering these guys have the strength to carry a goose. Their grooming requirements, cold tolerance, and heat tolerance are at a 3, which is pretty high for groom tolerance, or for how much you need to groom them. So once or twice a week. Their weight is, for a male, for a healthy good weight for this dog, is 30 to 45 pounds. For a female, it's 25 to 40 pounds. That's the healthy weight of these guys. And finally, for the height, the thing you've been waiting for since the beginning of this reading corner of the day is 15 to 18 inches. Now, I want you to look around your room right now and think, what is 15 to 18 inches in your house? I mean, really, it'd be hard to find. I think all Spaniels are decently short, or maybe it's just this one. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the Spaniel we'll be reading about in the next episode, and it is the Clumber Spaniel. Spaniel being spelled properly this time. Is Clumber spelled properly? Clumber. Clumber. Yep, it's spelled properly. It just doesn't have the proper capitalization. Look at that dog. He's so silly. He's a big old hound dog. But then again, he's apparently a spaniel. I'd personally call him a sheep. But of course, before we can ever make fun of something, we need to know its history. So, the history of the Clumber Spaniel is that it's the stockiest of the spaniels. The Clumber is also one of the oldest, dating to the late 1700s, although the exact The derivation of the breed is unknown. It is likely that the old heavy-headed Alpine Spaniel and the low-bodied Basset Hound played prominent roles in its development. The breed did not get the name all around the time of the French Revolution, when it was believed that the Duc de Noailles of France moved the Spaniel kennels to the Duke of Newcastle's English estate, Clumber Park. Clumber, slow-moving but a spaniels, appealed to the English nobility, who appreciated the spaniel's slow-moving but essentially keen-nosed hunter. He was also an adept retriever. The breed was not readily available for commoners because of the nobility discouraged its popularity except among higher society. As befitting of the high status, Clumbers were among the earliest breeds to be shown. They came to America in the late 1800s. Their popularity has remained strongest in the field. Although Clumbers have attained high show honors, they remain greatly unknown to the public despite their many attributes. So I believe this dog is mistaken for other dogs because I'm mentally been telling myself, oh yeah, I've seen this breed of dog. But considering the book itself has said, and quote, this dog has been mistaken for other animals, I could be actually incorrect. So now you want one of these unknown dogs, but you need to know the temperament. So the temperament of the Clumber Spaniel is that it's among the most low-keyed and easygoing of the sporting breeds. The Clumber Spaniel is nonetheless a hunter of heart, ever ready for the day of the field. At home, it tends to be quiet and may even need to be goaded into exercise. It is one of the few sporting breeds suitable for city life. Although it will relish walks and outgoings, the Clumber makes a good pet, especially devoted to one person. So it's a good dog. He's a very good dog. But, of course, I could just be lying. So what's the upkeep, Stonesy? You always read about the upkeep. Well, the upkeep's very short on this dog because the upkeep of the Clumber Spaniel, as you can see, very fluffy, is that the Clumber enjoys the daily outing. But its exercise requires to be met with a long walk on a leash or a leisurely hike in the field. The coat needs brushing 2 to 3 times weekly, although in dirty areas it may need more frequent bathing in order to keep its coat a gleaming white. Clumbers tend to drool and at times snore. Oh, this doggy snores. He's a loud doggy. Loud doggy with a lot of hair. But now it's time for any children to be listening to cover your ears. Any teenagers or adults, keep those ears open. This is important. AKA the worst time I have in this book. So for the health of the Clumber Spaniel, the major concerns is invertebral disc disease. Now, basically, that means their legs and hips are very gentle. It's a major concern because that means they can't run or walk and it's hard for them to do anything else. They're mostly fur, so when they're dragging their feet all the time, if they were to, that means their hair would get dirty and they get a lot of diseases. The minor concerns you were looking at is entropin, ectropin, entropin, odious externa. So I believe that has to do with otitious is eye. So eye problems, entropin and entropine, which are two different words, are more like parts of the arms or arms of the dog, the legs. Your suggested tests are the hip, eye, and elbow, and they're occasionally seen having seizures, which is not okay for the doggy, of course. So keep an eye on that. And their lifespan is 10 to 12 years, which is pretty average for a spaniel. Finally, before we get to the tier list, we have the form and function. Now, I don't have a family, Stonesy, so what can these dogs do? What do they look like? What do I have to look out for? What makes my dog perfect and healthy in its own way? Well, the form and function of the Clumber Spaniel is that the Clumber Spaniel is long, low dog, rectangular shape with a massive bone. This, built in combination with a deep chest, heavy brow, and a powerful hindquarters, enables a dog to move through thick underbrush when hunting. The coat is straight, flat, soft, and dense, imparting resistance to weather. The white color helps the hunter locate the dog. The Clumber tends to hunt close and it moves easily, tending to roll slightly because of its wide body and short legs. The expression is soft. So this doggy could trip on itself and fall and roll. That's really cute, but also really sad. So finally, we're at the at a glance. 5 means it's the best or could be the worst, depending on the situation. 4 means it's above average, or you know how it is. 3 means it's average, you know, it's like the rest. 2 means it's below average, and 1 means it is the worst, or it can be the worst, or it could be the best, depending. For example, the energy level and exercise requirements are at a 2. So for energy level being at a 2, that's below average. That's not really good. But their exercise requirements is a 2, which is good because they don't need a lot of exercise. Their playfulness is at a 3, so average is as average as any other dog. The affection level is at a 4, so they're more affectionate than others. Their friendliness towards other pets is also a 4. The friendliness towards dogs, friendliness towards strangers, and ease of training are at a 3. So, you know, it's going to be good friends with other dogs, could be good friends with other strangers, and it's average easy as training. Now, the watchdog ability, aka how far they can see and tell you, it's out of 2. Not the best, but could be worse. Speaking of worse, their protection ability is out of 1, so these dogs aren't going to be very good for protecting. I think these are more for if you live in a safe area and you want a dog. Grooming requirements and cold tolerance out of 3, which is normal, and their heat tolerance is out of 2, which is strange. I think this is the first dog we've had that actually has a lower tolerance, which makes sense. He's mostly fur. Oh my goodness, look how fabulous you are. I have a close look at the next spaniel we're going to be reading about. But before I get to that, the final 2 things, the weight that you'd want your Clumber Spaniel to be at a healthy weight is 70 to 85 pounds, and for a female, 55 to 70 pounds. The height for a male should be 90 to 20 inches, and a female, 17 to 19 inches. Now back to that spaniel. The next spaniel that we'll be looking at is very beautiful, very fantastic, and it is the Cocker Spaniel. A very pretty dog, a very beautiful dog, a very Basset Houndy fluffy dog. It's a Basset Hound but fluffy, and very, very fat. Very, very fat. Look at that dog. Even as a baby, he's a little fat. But of course, you can't make fun of something or really support anything without knowing their history. So, today, for the history of the Cocker Spaniel, is that the American version of the Cocker Spaniel is derived from the English Cocker Spaniel. In the late 1800s, many English Cockers were brought into America, but American hunters preferred a slightly smaller dog to hunt quail and other small game birds. Just how small a Cocker was developed is not entirely clear. Some credit the dog, OBO II, born around 1880, was the first true American Cocker, but other evidence points across the English Cocker with even smaller toy spaniels, that nonetheless arose from the same ancestral stock. Initially, the English-American Cocker Spaniels were considered varieties of the same breed, and they were officially separated from the AKC, American Kennel Company, in 1935. Although Cockers were already popular, and the separation of the American Cocker surge in the popularity has remained one of the most popular breeds of all time in America. In fact, it was the most popular breed for many years. So popular, it was eventually divided into 3 color varieties: black, particolor, and ASCOB, or ASCOB, which stands for any solid color other than black. Only recently has it been popularly spread to England, where it recognized by the English Kennel Club in 1968, and has gained admirers steadily since. So now that you know the strange, unknown story of the Cocker Spaniel, which was really just an expanded description on the English Cocker Spaniel, now you're wondering, what's the temperament? What if I want my kids to have it? Is it a good kid dog? Will it protect my kids? Well, the temperament of the Cocker Spaniel is that the breed is known as a merry cocker, and the name is most fitting. It's playful, cheerful, and amiable, sweet, sensitive, and willing to please, and responsive to its family's wishes. It is not known for retaining its human hunting instincts, but is inquisitive and will appreciate a country outing. It is especially equally at home in the city, where it will happily walk on a leash for its exercise needs. Some bark a lot, some are overly submissive. So some are very shy, and some are very loud, which sometimes isn't good, but hey, that's just how dogs are. Now, do you understand the things you're going into when you get this dog? So what's the upkeep of him? Well, the upkeep of the Cocker Spaniel is that, although it enjoys a romp, the Cocker can receive adequate exercise and a long daily walk on a leash. The coat of the Cocker requires a greater commitment than in most breeds. Although pets can be clipped short, in order to maintain a nice coat, it would need to be brushed and combed 2 to 3 times a week, in addition to professional clipping and scissoring every month. Special attention must be paid to ear and eye cleanliness in this breed. The profusely coated feet tend to carry debris. The Cocker is much a social dog, and is banished outdoors would not be accessible. Cockers have a tendency to become overweight, as we can see, of course. Now, if you are a child listening to this, please cover your ears, cover your eyes. If you are an adult or a teenager, please listen up, take notes, because the health of the Cocker Spaniel, aka the worst part in reading this, is that the major concerns of the Cocker Spaniel you have to look out for is cataracts, glaucoma, PRA, and patellar luxation. Injuries in the legs, injuries in the eyes, and can become blind. So those are always major concerns, but I think it's a major concern for cataracts because it can become blind early. The minor concerns you'd have to look out for: CHD, entropine, allergies, seborrhea, otis externa, liver disease, CHF, phosphofructonases deficiency, urinary stones, cherry eye, cardiomyopathy, and hypothyroidism. So basically a lot of different problems, mostly by the sounds of it, internal. With the examples liver disease, cherry stones, urinary stones, cherry eye. It's occasionally seen with gastric torsion, elbow dysplasia, and epilepsy. Gastric torsion can actually be fixed by yourself if you know how to. Basically, you just rub the stomach and make sure all the gas passes through. It's kind of a disgusting thing to do, but with certain dogs you have to, especially ones that can gain weight very easily. The suggested tests are eye, knee, hip, and thyroid. So keep those always tested. DNA for, as well as the DNA for phosphofructokinase deficiency. Good thing to keep an eye on. And the lifespan of them is 12 to 15 years. So they might have a lot of problems, but they can live for a very long time. Now, the form and function of a Cocker Spaniel, although it's very much a show dog, it is the smallest member of the sporting group. The Cocker would be compact and sturdy. Its gait is ground covering, strong and effortless. The coat is silky, flat, and slightly wavy, not overlong. Excessive coat can hinder the dog in the field. The head of the expression are hallmarks of the breed. The expression is soft and appealing, though seldom used for original purpose. The Cocker would still be able to spend a day in the field, should be balanced and athletic. It is true, however, that most Cockers now have too much coat for field work. So you might have to shave them if they want to be out on the field, but aside from that, they're all right. Now, finally, for the final part of this episode, we have the tier list. Now, 5 is the best, or could be the worst. 4 is better than average, or worse than average. 3, you're average, you're cool, you're lame. 2, you're worst, you're bad, oh nay. 1 is the worst and you never want to be, or it could be the best, apparently. So let's get it down. Energy level, exercise requirements, both at a 3. So they're average, oh average. They take them on a walk. Their exercise is a key. Now, their playfulness is at a 4. That's about normal, but it's more than average than the average dog. Affection level, friendliness towards dogs and other pets are at a 5. They're your friend, they're their friend. Friends of your friend, friend of your animal friend. Now for the others, you got a 4. Ease of training, watchdogability, friendliness towards strangers are at a 4. Like, listen to me carefully. Basically, this is very simple. They can be friends with strangers. Oh man. Now, they can also have training very easily. Now watch them. Watch them now. Well, they watch you. They're a watchdog potential at a 4. Not the best, but potential. Because they're a watchdog potential. Now let's get to the protection. A 1. Oh no, they can't protect you. They can watch out for you, but they cannot protect you. That's not good. It never really is. The worst part about it is the grooming requirements. Now that's at a 4. That's really high. Groom them every day. Brush them to the side. Now we're at the final end. Both at a 3. And then again, the cold tolerance and the heat tolerance are average, a 3. You know, the end. Now, to end this off, the weight that you would want your Cocker Spaniel to be at a healthy weight is 24 to 28 pounds. Not very heavy. The height of these animals for a male is 14.5 to 15.5 inches. And for a female is 13.5 to 14.5 inches. They're very short. Oh my, another type of spaniel next time, which is the English Cocker Spaniel. Now, this dog might look a little familiar, and that's because the English Cocker Spaniel and the normal Cocker Spaniel are very, very similar. I think the only difference is their history. So this should be relatively short, but maybe not. So, now that we know that this dog is not original and a little stupid, a little silly, and of course, me making fun of it, we need to know its history. So the history of the English Cocker Spaniel is that the Spaniel family is one of the largest groups of dogs that once specialized. The English Cocker Spaniel is one of the land spaniels. The land spaniels consisted of larger spaniels that were better for spring and game, and smaller spaniels that were better for hunting woodcock. These different sizes appeared the same litters. They're essentially 2 variations of the same breed. Only in 1892 were the 2 sizes considered separate breeds, with the smaller size under 25 pounds designated as the Cocker Spaniel. In fact, because both breeds shared the same gene pool, there were many of the same hunting talents. In 1901, the weight limit was abolished. Cocker Spaniels became extremely popular in England, and the American breeders changed the breed in ways that traditional English Cocker Spaniel enthusiasts objected to. English and American Cocker Spaniels were known together until 1936, when English Cocker Spaniel Club of America was formed and the English Cocker retrieved status as a separate variety. The English Cocker Spaniel Club discouraged the interbreeding of American and English Cockers, and in 1946 the English Cocker was designated to a separate breed. After the breeds were separated, the American Cocker eclipsed the English in popularity, but only in America. Throughout the rest of the world, the English Cocker was by far the more popular of the two breeds. It is known simply as the Cocker Spaniel. Wow, so the difference is, basically, their weight and height, which is interesting. Next, we need to know the temperament. I want to own one of these. I'm in England. I don't want the American one. I want the England one. I want the English one. You know, the one that's not used for hunting, like those dirty Americans have. So, what is the temperament of it, Stonesy boy? Well, the temperament of it, good chap, is that the English Cocker Spaniel retains more of its hunting nature than does the American version, and it's also a little more exercise. It is cheerful, inquisitive, demonstrated, devoted, biddable, loyal, and sensitive. It's a social dog that likes to stay close to its human family. Now, the upkeep of this dog. Now, you want to know the upkeep of this dog. Maybe they share the same thing with the British and the American dogs, although American dogs eat more cheeseburgers than, the English dogs eat more biscuits and tea. I don't know. But I would love to go to England one day. Anyways, now you want to know the upkeep. So the upkeep of the English Cocker Spaniel is that they require daily exercise as a necessity. Either in form and a long walk on a leash, a good run in the field, or a lively game in the yard. Although the English Cocker would physically live outside in temperate to warm weather, it is such a social dog that it needs best living inside and playing outside. The medium-length coat needs brushing 2 to 3 times per week, plus clipping around the head and ears, scissoring around the feet and tail every 2 months. The ears should be cleaned weekly. So these dogs are very, can easily become very dirty. So yeah, like I said, the English version of this dog seems to be very, how do you say, more of a show dog than a hunter. So yeah, it makes sense why this dog has so many requirements and to upkeep it. Now, for any side of this fun little game that we have of the English and Americans, please, if you're a child, cover your ears. If you're a teenager or an adult, get your notebooks out, because it's time to learn. Because we need to talk about the worst part of the book, the health. The health of the English Cocker Spaniel is that the major concerns are PRA, patellar luxation, legs, eyes. Minor concerns are cataracts, eyes, CHD, kidney disease, internal, and hypothyroidism, thighs, if I'm not mistaken. They're occasionally seen with cardiomyopathy. I hate that word. And the suggested tests that you should give them are hearing for pectorals, hip, eye, knee, and thyroid. So these should be tested regularly. I would say every 2 months. Their lifespan is 12 to 14 years, which is sad, but it's true. And there's a note given to me by the Encyclopedia of Dog Breeds, 2nd edition by D. Caroline Coley, PhD, which profiles more than 150 breeds of dogs. And it states that deafness is a major concern in pactocolors. CHD is more common in solid colors. PRA is a PRCD type, so the color of your dog matters. Interesting. Now, you don't have a family. Now, and you want to know the form and function of these little doggies. So, well, the form and function of the English Cocker Spaniel. Do you like this voice? I made it up just now, and it was either this one or it's going to be Manakuma. So, take your pick. So, the little form and function of the English Cocker Spaniel is that the English Cocker must be able to find, flush, and retrieve upland game birds a full day of hunting. It must be small enough to penetrate dense cover, but a sufficient size to retrieve larger game. The broad muzzle helps with retrieving. The dog is slightly taller than long, compactly built, and short coupled, whatever. This breed loves to hunt and shows it by wagging its tail when on the job. The English Cocker is a driving, powerful gait that covers ground effortlessly. The coat is a medium length, silky in texture, either flat or slightly wavy. The feathering would not be so profuse if it had been hiding in the field, but it would be long enough to protect the underside of the dog. The expression is soft and melting, yet dignified. What a dignified little dog. Ah, yes, my dog is dignified and a hunter. We hunt for gamecock, don't you know? But now, it's time for the final part of the learning corner of the day. We're doing it Stonesy's Day, Bop. And that is the tier list. Now, 5, for you cool chaps, is basically the best. 4 is better than average, I guess. 3, you're average, you're weird, you're cool, but whatever, you're average. 2, you're low, you're 4, the average. One, the worst, the actual worst. Now that's gonna be bad depending on the situation in the tier on the tier list. Let's get this bad. So, the energy level and exercise requirements are at a 3, so it's average. Playfulness is at a 4, so they're more playful than the average dog. The affection level, friendliness towards dogs and friendliness towards other pets are at a 5, so they might be really good for a house dog. The friendliness towards strangers, ease of training, and watchdog ability are at a 4, so, you know, they befriend your brother that they've never seen. They will, you know, be easy to train, and they have pretty good watchdog ability. Their protection ability is at a 2, which, you know, honestly, we haven't found an animal with a higher protection level than a 3, so that's about right. I think we'll get that more when we cover Rottweilers and stuff, or as it's called, the working group. The grooming requirements are at a 3, the cold tolerance are at a 3, and the heat tolerance are at a 3, so you need to groom them regularly, and they're pretty good with the cold and the heat. And finally, for the weight of a healthy breed of the English Cocker Spaniel, the male should be 28 to 34 pounds, and for the female, 26 to 32 pounds. I would bring up what pounds are in England. I don't know if it's kilograms or whatever, but I'm lazy. And the height for the male is 16 to 17 inches, and for the female, 15 to 16. So that is it for today for the English Cocker Spaniel. English Cocker Spaniel, you twat. You can't say it in an English tone. I'm sorry. God, don't yell at me. Oh, wow, we're learning about another cool type of Spaniel, which is the English Springer Spaniel. Now, something very interesting about the English Springer Spaniel that I know is I actually know a English Springer Spaniel in real life. His name is Bandit. He's very nice. And he's named Bandit because he looks like he has masks, like those old Batman movies with Adam West. So, yeah. It's fun that I actually know a real-life English Springer Spaniel, I would like to say. Asides from that, we are going to need to know about the silly little long doggy that we have in front of us. So the history of the English Springer Spaniel is that as the Spaniels became increasingly specialized, the larger land Spaniels had ranged farther afield became extremely useful at flushing or springing game. Before the advent of shotguns, the game was flushed into nets and then chased by falcons and greyhounds. The first reference of springers referred to the land Spaniels in the late 1500s. Around 1800, distinct strains of carefully bred springers began to develop. One of the best known were those bred by the Duke of Norfolk. His dogs were so heavily influenced by the breed that for a while the breed was called Norfolk Spaniels. The name was changed to Springer Spaniel in 1900. The matter was complicated by the fact that the larger Springer and smaller Cocker Spaniels were simply size variations of the same breed. Only in 1902 did the English Kennel Club, EKC, recognize the Springer was a distinct breed. In America, the American Spaniel Club was formed in 1880 and began the task of separating the Springer and the Cocker sizes. After separation, the Springer continued to thrive. It remained popular. The hunters demanded a versatile gun dog that ranges fast and far that can also flush and retrieve. It is also a popular show dog and pet. So now you know the history of this dog. So what's the temperament? I've met a dog like this in real life. I've even taken care of a dog like this in real life, so I could tell you a little more. But for the book's sake, what is the temperament of the English Springer Spaniel? Well, the temperament of the English Springer Spaniel is that the English Springer Spaniel is a cheerful, playful, and energetic, ready to play in the field and evening in the hearth. It does everything with gusto and can be overly enthusiastic unless given plenty of exercise. The typical Springer is the ideal family companion, which is interesting because the dog I know, that is the real-life English Springer Spaniel, is kind of playful and not very playful at all, so I guess that makes you wonder. Anyways, now you know this dog, so what's the upkeep? What do I have to do to keep this dog up and running? Well, the upkeep of the English Springer Spaniel is that, as an energetic and inquisitive dog, the Springer needs daily mental and physical exertion. Hunting is the first choice that satisfies both needs, but an outing in the field, a long walk on a leash, and good obedience lesson can go far from making the Springer a calm and well-behaved house dog. This breed does its best to allow to live in a house with access to a yard. His coat needs brushing or combing 1 to 2 times weekly, plus clipping and scissoring every 2 to 3 months. Springers from field rather than show lines tend to have less of a coat. So yeah, I believe this dog gets brushed. The dog I know gets brushed that much, but I could be wrong. Anyways, now if you are a child, please cover your ears, and if you are an adult or a teenager, please get your notebooks out, because we are now going to learn about the health of the English Springer Spaniel. So, the health concerns that we need to know of the English Springer Spaniel is that the major concerns are the otitis externa, CHD, and elbow dysplasia. So basically a lot of joint problems. Minor concerns are fructokinase deficiency, PRA, and rectal dysplasia. Can get blind easily, can get stomach problems really easily. Occasionally seen with atropine, Rade syndrome, seizures, gastric torsion, and patellar luxation. Those aren't ever good. And suggested tests are hip, elbow, eye, knee, and DNA for phosphofructokinase deficiency. Their lifespan is 10 to 14 years. Sad thing to know, but hey. So I don't have a family. I don't have kids, Stonesy. So what is this dog good for? Well, the form and function of the English Springer Spaniel is that the English Springer Spaniel is compactly built, upstanding with proud carriage, slightly longer than tall but fairly long legs with deep body. Its build should suggest a combination of strength, agility, and endurance. A dog capable of hunting tirelessly under the most difficult of conditions. The outer coat is medium length, neither flat or wavy, and the undercoat is soft and dense. Its combination protects the dog from weather and water and thorns. The gait is long and ground covering. The expression, alert, kindly, and trusting, is an essential feature of the Springer type. Field-bred Springers tend to be lighter boned and have less coat, but have more variable patterning to show they're bred Springers. So yeah, they're very fast, they're very outgoing. Now, for the final part of today's episode is the tier list. 5 is the best, 4 is better, 3 is average, 2 is below, 1 is the worst, and now you know. So, with that out of the way, the energy level for these dogs is a 3, so, it's average. The exercise requirements and playfulness are at a 4, which kind of even each other out, so these dogs need a good amount of exercise. The affection level is at a 5, so they love you to the ends of the earth. The friendliness towards dogs is a 3, so make sure they don't get pissy. The friendliness towards other pets are at a 5, so they're good with anything else like cats. Friendliness towards strangers is a 4, so they're better than average. Ease of training is at a 5, so they're really easy to train. Watchdog ability is a 4, so they're pretty good keeping an eye on things. Protection ability is at a 2, so again, not very protecting, but you're not going to get that till later. Their grooming requirements are at a 4, so I think it's one of the highest we've had so far. So they need grooming like every week or something like that. Their cold tolerance and heat tolerance are at a 3, so about average. And finally, the healthy weight for a male should be about 50 pounds, and for a female, about 40 pounds. The height of a male is 19 to 21 inches. I'm sorry, not pounds. And female should be 18 to 20 inches. Wow. Oh my goodness, I've seen this dog in a movie. The next type of spaniel we'll be reading about is Field Spaniel. I don't actually know a Field Spaniel in real life, but what I do know is they look like giant cups of chocolate milk. I mean, look at him. Look how silly he is. He's got big old droopy eyes. He's so sad. But of course, we can't make fun of him without knowing his history. So, the history of the Field Spaniel is that the Field Spaniel shares its early history with the English Cocker Spaniel. The only difference between the two breeds, initially being one of the size, the Field Spaniel is composed of the Land Spaniels weighing over 25 pounds. These larger Field Spaniels were derived from the Cocker, Sussex, and English Water Spaniels, and were initially required to be black. After becoming recognized as a separate breed for the late 1800s, the Field Spaniel succumbed from breeding and exaggeration. A repeated infusion of Sussex Spaniel blood resulted in the dogs of excessive length, overly heavy bones, and short legs. The breed lost its usefulness as a hunter, and although it enjoyed short vogue in the early 1900s, it's ultimately teetered in the brink of extinction. Crosses in English Springer Spaniels made it more effort to recreate the original Field Spaniel. The crosses were successful, and the modern Field Spaniel was not only a handsome replica of its former self, but also an able hunter. All modern Field Spaniels have been traced back to the 4 Field Spaniels from the 1950s. Ronnie Regal, Gormac Teal, to Columbia of Defont, and Elmbury Morua of Rewells. Despite the fact that the Field Spaniels have been shown in America in the late 1800s, no champions have been made up between 1916 and 1966. In fact, the breed was initially extinct in America of much of that time. The breed was reintroduced into America in the late 1960s. The Field Spaniel remains among one of the rarest breeds in America. Ain't that neat? But of course now, you know the cool little rarity facts of the Field Spaniel. So now, you want to own it. But before you own it, you need to know the temperament. Well, the temperament of the Field Spaniel is that the Field Spaniel is the happiest when it has a job to do. Although independent in nature, it is devoted, sensitive, and willing to please. Generally cheerful and affectionate, it is an excellent family companion as long as it is given regular exercise. The Field Spaniel is especially known for its docile nature, and is typically for a Field Spaniel for somewhat reserved with strangers. Ooh, so it might not be good with strangers, but it's pretty good with you. So now you know that this dog might be a pretty good protector, but what can it do otherwise besides that? How can this dog benefit me? How do I keep this dog up and running? Well, the upkeep of the Field Spaniel is that the Field Spaniel needs daily exercise, and even though it's happiest when given a chance to run and explore, it needs can be met with a long walk on a leash. It does best when allowed to divide its time between the house and yard. It thrives in human companionship and should not be deprived of the family. Its coat needs brushing and combing once and twice a weekly. The hair inside the ears and between the foot pads should be clipped. Straggling hair should be scissored every few months, and some clipping and thinning is needed for some show dogs. The ears should be checked and cleaned regularly. Some can be somewhat sloppy and some snore. Now, if you are a child, please cover your ears. If you're an adult or teenager, please start taking your notes because we are on the health of the Field Spaniel, aka the worst part of the video. Well, the major concerns of the Field Spaniel is CHD. Minor concerns are otis externa and hypothyroidism. They're occasionally seen with heart murmurs, patellar luxation, and seizures. Their suggested tests that they should have every month is hip, eye, elbow, heart, patella, and thyroid testing, and their lifespan is 12 to 14 years. Now that you know that weird thing, you can now open up your ears if you are a child, but now you understand that you're not going to have any kids in the future. So what's the form and function of this animal? Well, the form and function of the Field Spaniel is that somewhat longer than tall, solidly built with moderate bone. The Field Spaniel is a dog without exaggeration. A combination of beauty and utility, its stride is long and low. Its head held proudly and Albertly, the whale tagging and not carried high. The Field Spaniel is built for both activity and stamina, enabling it to hunt in dense cover or water. It has single coat, which is flat and lightly wavy and moderately long, giving it protection from thorns and water. Its expression is grave and gentle. Now, for the final part of the episode, we have the tier list. 5 is the best, 4 is better, 3 is average, whatever. 2 is below, and 1 is the worst. And now, that's what you know. So, today we are going to the energy level, exercise requirements, playfulness, and nope, that's about it. Is out of 4. So basically, they're high energy, high exercise, high playful. Their affection level is out of 5, so they're very lovey. The friendliness towards dog is out of 3, which is one of the lower ones, but they're basically average. Friendliness towards other pets is out of 5, which is good. Friendliness towards strangers is out of 3, which, well, that's what it said. Ease of training and watchdog ability are out of 4, so they can watch, and you can teach them to watch. Protection ability is out of 2, so below average. Grooming requirements, cold tolerance, and heat tolerance are out of 3, which is about right. So these dogs should be groomed every so often, and, they can stand the heat and cold pretty well. The healthy weight of a Field Spaniel, no matter gender, should be 35 to 50 pounds, and the height of a male is 18 inches, and 17 for a female is 17 inches, or plus or minus an inch, depending on how they're grown. So that is the Field Spaniel, and next time we're going to be learning about
Irish Water Spaniel, a breed of spaniel that we haven't covered yet, and it's Irish, so you gotta know it's pretty good. Well, it's also very fluffy and looks like an emo. I mean, look at him. Looks like he listens to Linkin Park. Not saying that while I'm wearing a Linkin Park shirt, totally not. But yeah, he looks like a weirdo. But of course, before you can ever make fun of something, you should know the history of it. So the history of the Irish Water Spaniel is that the Irish Water Spaniel is one of the oldest, most distinctive spaniels. Dogs resembling them are depicted in manuscripts from 1,000 years ago. In the 1100s, mentioned it's made of dogs called Shannon Spaniels, Rat-tailed Spaniels, Whip-tailed Spaniels, or Irish Water Spaniels. Continued references of the Irish Water Spaniel could be found in 1600 on. Around that time, the King of France is said to have been presented with an Irish Water Spaniel. Whether the breed was one to be found in different varieties or whether several similar breeds were forbears, it's matter of conjecture. What is agreed upon is several similar spaniels existed in Ireland: the Northern Irish, Southern Irish, and Tweed Spaniels. The Southern Irish Spaniel, also called McCarthy's breed, is credited to being an eventual major forebear of today's dog. In the mid-1800s, the appearance of the prolific sire Botched, who so influenced the breed that he often credited as being the progenitor of the modern Irish Water Spaniel. The breed entered a show ring in both Britain and America by the late 1800s, and in 1875 as the third most popular sporting dog. Despite its enchantedly clownish appearance and its depth water retrieving ability, the Irish Water Spaniel has lost popularity and is rarely seen in the show ring and found as a family pet. So you know the weirdly royal history of the Irish Water Spaniel. So, what else? What about the temperament of it? Well, you want to own this dog since it's now commonly found in homes. So the temperament of the Irish Water Spaniel is that the Irish Water Spaniel goes at everything in life with gusto and enthusiasm. It loves to swim, run, hunt, and play with needs of lots of exercise. A clown at heart, and it could be suborned and independent, so it needs to be trained with patience, firmness, and a sense of humor. It tends to be reserved to strangers and is generally good with children, though some can be timid. So, pretty good with children, pretty fun. It's basically a clown. But, sometimes could be a little bad. So now you know this dog and you know how fluffy it is, so you know what, now your kid wants one. So what's the upkeep? How do I keep this dog up and running? Well, the upkeep of the Irish Water Spaniel is this active, athletic, inquisitive breed needs a lot of mental and physical exertion to keep it from becoming frustrated or bored. An hour of free running and strenuous playing a day is necessary to satisfy its needs. Obedience work can also be helpful in giving it mental challenges it enjoys. The curly coat needs brushing and combing 2 to 3 times a week, plus scissoring every few months. Like all dogs, it loses its coat periodically. However, the hair tends to become trapped in the other hairs rather than fall off. If not combed out, they will form mats and cords. Mats and cords in dog hair is more like can cause serious problems because that's where disease and bugs can start living. And once that happens, it can get real bad real fast. So, brush your dog. Of course, now, if you are a child, please cover your ears. If you are an adult or a teenager, please get your notebook, because it is now time to talk about the health of the Irish Water Spaniel. The health of the Irish Water Spaniel, for its major concerns, is CHD and ODS externa, basically eyes and brain. Minor concerns are discasis, I think this is pronounced. It's more of a hip thing. It's occasionally seen with sarcophagus. Wait, what? That's not sarcophagus. What am I talking about? Megasophagus. Megasophagus. Seizures and nail bed disease. So its nails can easily get disease, I assume. Suggested tips are on the hip, but I would also say on the body itself more than the hip. Although as a spaniel, it is a running dog. Its lifespan is 10 to 12 years, and there's a special note given to us by the Encyclopedia of Dog Breeds, second edition by D. Caroline Coley, PhD, that states, may have adverse reactions to sulfa drugs in ivermectin. So, watch out for what you give it. Finally, second to finally, you don't have family, you don't have anyone, but you still want this dog. So what's the form and function? Well, the form and function of the Irish Water Spaniel is the tallest spaniel. However, it must never be so large that it be pulled into a boat. The body is a medium length, the whole being is slightly rectangular in appearance. The general appearance suggests both dash and endurance. The gait is smooth and ground covering. The coat is one of the breed's distinctive features. The body is covered with a double coat consisting of crisp ringlets. Its combination imparts water, weather, and thorn resistance to the dog and enabling to hunt in the harshest conditions. The Irish Water Spaniel's expression says it all: alert, intelligent, and quizzical. So this is a very intelligent dog, but we should learn more about that in the tier list. So 5 is the best, 4 is better, 3 is average, 2 is below, and 1 is the worst. Now that you know, let's get to the reading. So its energy level, exercise requirements, and playfulness are all at a 5. So it's very playful, very much energy, and very much needs a lot of exercise. Its affection level, friendliness towards dogs, friendliness towards other pets are at a 3. So it's average. As long as they're nice to it, it'll be nice to them. Friendliness towards strangers is at a 2. So like I said earlier, it's going to be alert and a little more strenuous. Ease of training is at a 5, so it's pretty easy to train. Like, it's got to be one of the easiest to train. Their watchdog ability is at a 4. Their protection ability is at a 3, which I said before we get to the guard dog type of section of this book. You're not going to see a protection level higher than 3, maybe even 4. Grooming requirements are at a 3, which is surprising. I'd put these at more of a 5, especially since they can get disease very easily from their fur not getting groomed. Cold tolerance is at a 4, and heat tolerance is at a 3. So basically, they can take the cold easier than the heat. So yeah, keep an eye on that. So the healthy weight of a male should be around 55 to 65 pounds, and the healthy weight of a female Irish Water Spaniel should be 45 to 58 pounds. The average height of a male Irish Water Spaniel is 22 to 24 inches, pretty tall, and for a female, it's 21 to 23. I guess it's not that surprised. I guess it's not that surprising, of course, because Ooh, and the next type of spaniel reading is
Sussex Spaniel. It's a funny name. Laugh at the funny name. But understand that is the dog. Look at the picture of the baby dog. That is what you're laughing at, you monster. You're laughing at that? And you're making fun of a dog because of its name that it couldn't even give itself without knowing the history? You should know. Before you make fun of anything or have a real opinion on something, you should know the history. Don't ever take some opinion off of someone else. That's lazy. Don't ever do that. Because in reality, who's the real lazy one? The person who just believed someone, or the person who researched it and has information to back up their claim? Well, I don't think you need to be a genius to figure that one out. Anyways, the history of the Sussex Spaniel, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is that the Spaniels of Sussex are mentioned in the sporting publication of 1820 as good working dogs. The name was adopted from Sussex, England, the home of the first important kennel, established in 1795. These small land spaniels, the breed soon to become popular among the states around Sussex County. They were adapted to upland shooting dogs. Slow working, but they're good nose and apt to give tongue when they scent. This latter trait hurt the breed in the field trials in the early 1900s when quiet hunters were preferred. In addition, American hunters usually prefer the faster hunter. Although one of the first 10 AKC, American Kennel Company, recognized breeds, and among the earliest breeds that compete at dog shows. The Sussex had never been particularly popular at dog shows, or never been particularly popular or competitive show dog. Perhaps because of the reasons, the Sussex Spaniel has perilously closed the extinction throughout most of the 20th century. At times, the breed had so few individuals that inbreeding would be practiced to a greater extent than otherwise describable. In 1954, the cross was made in the Clumber Spaniel in an effort to expand the gene pool. The Sussex gene pool remains limited because the breed is still among the rarest of the American Kennel Company's AKC breeds. So now you know the kind of sad story of the Sussex Spaniel. Wow, its name really... this dog really doesn't have a lot going for it. It has a funny name and really was just made fun of by the American Kennel Company and probably the English Kennel Company, considering not even they would take their own breed of dog, considering this is one of the first dogs in the English Kennel Company. So, yeah, it's kind of sad. But, yeah, you want to own this thing. You feel bad for it, so you want to own it, which is really sad, because look at that dog. He's so sad. So yeah, what is the temperament of this dog, Stonesy? Well, the temperament of the Sussex Spaniel is that the Sussex Spaniel is more laid back than other Spaniels. This makes it well suited for city life, but it still appreciates the chance to take a wild hunt up birds. It may be noisier than most other Spaniels when hunting, which is made up of less popular with hunters. If left alone while other activities are ongoing, it may bark or howl. At home, it is calm, steady, and easygoing. Its somber expression is misleading because it's quite cheerful. Oh, so it just looks sad. It reminds me of my Basset Hound. Speaking of, I think we might be learning about our Basset Hound kind of soon. The page for the Basset Hound would be page... I should be able to find it pretty easily, actually. I'll find it after. Now, you want to know more about this sad-looking dog, even though he's very happy. Well, that means you want to know the upkeep. The upkeep of the Sussex Spaniel is the Sussex needs daily exercise. But its needs are be met with a good walk and a lead and a short romp in the yard. Given the chance, it will appreciate a longer foray into the field. It does best in the house that also has access to a yard. The coat needs brushing and combing 2 to 3 times a week. Wow, this dog needs a lot of brushing, but for that beautiful mane, I wouldn't put it behind them. Now, for any children here, cover your ears. For any teenagers or adults, please get out your notebooks if you are trying to own, or if you do own a Sussex Spaniel, because the health of the Sussex Spaniel, one of my worst parts of these videos. The major concerns of the Sussex Spaniel is the CHD, intervertebral disc disease, so leg if I'm not mistaken. Minor concerns are otitis externa, heart murmurs, and a large heart. Those are all really bad. Chest, yeah, but it's all chest really. It's occasionally seen with nothing. Suggested tests are really nothing. I would give this dog chest tests personally, and its lifespan is 11 to 13 years. Not as long as any other Spaniel, but you know, pretty good for a dog. Now, please uncover your ears because you need to know the form and function. I don't have kids. Why would I care? So, the form and function of a Sussex Spaniel is a long, low, rectangular body copulated with a muscular and rather massive physique. Allows the Sussex to penetrate dense cover when hunting. Its movement is deliberate and rolling because of the short legs and comparatively wide body. Its gait is emphasis power over need. The abundant body coat is flat or slightly wavy, giving protection from thorns. A distinctive feature and the long feather between the toes, which would be long enough to cover the toenails. The expression is somber and serious, even frowning, but the wagon tail bellies its true nature. The Sussex tends to bark when hunting, which helps the hunter locate it in thick cover. Now for the final thing, tell me what's the plan? Are you time for one more dance? Because we're at the final glance. Did anyone get that reference? Comment if you did, because I'd be surprised. So basically, let me give you this quick rundown, because I haven't given this rundown in a month. 5 is the best, 4 is better, 3 is your average, and 2 is worst. 1 is the worst. All in all, now let's get to this tier list, big or small. I don't care. Okay. The energy level, exercise requirements, and playfulness of the Sussex Spaniel is at a 3. So, average energy, it goes sleepies, it needs good exercise, but not much, and playfulness. The affection level is at a 4. This dog loves you. Their friendliness towards dogs and friendliness towards strangers is at a 3. This dog is okay with dogs. The friendliness towards other pets is at a 4. They love hamsters. Ease of training is at a 2, which for Spaniel species seems to be relevant. The watchdog ability is at a 3. At a 4. So they're pretty good at watching out and keeping an eye on things. But their protection ability, grooming requirements, cold tolerance, and heat tolerance are at a 3. So they're alright at protecting. They do need a good amount of grooming, like said, 2 to 3 times a week. And good cold tolerance, good heat tolerance, good time anywhere. The weight. The average weight for both female and male Sussex Spaniels is 35 to 45 pounds for a healthy weight. And the height is 13 to 15 inches. And I pray not feet, because that would be a big dog. Next time, we will be reading about the Welsh Spaniel. I feel like I'm saying Total Drama Island when I say that. Not that this dog would make it anywhere near Total Drama Island. This type of dog is not famous. This type of dog is weird. This type of dog has a weird face. It looks like it's someone standing, but its nose is where its butt is. I mean, look at that dog. Look at the puppy. It's so silly looking. It's so weird looking. But of course, before you make fun of anything or have a true opinion on something, you should probably research it. So if someone ever asks you to defend yourself on your opinion, you have facts and checks to back it up. Though a fact and a truth are two different things, because the truth of the matter could be something, but a fact can never change. So today, we are going to learn about the history of the Welsh Springer Spaniel, because you must know the history before you make fun of something or have a true opinion on it. So, the history of the Welsh Springer Spaniel is that a dog identified as a Welsh Springer Spaniel is mentioned in some of the earliest records of the law in Wales, dating around 1300. Whether this dog is forebearer of today's Welsh Springer is a dispute. However, other evidence indicates the possibility of the Welsh Springer either developed alongside the English Springer or resulted from crosses of English Springers to Clumber Spaniels. Though land Spaniels have been used in Wales for some time before the Welsh Springers emerged in the recognized breed, the early dogs were probably not a uniform lot. At first, the dog shows from England, English and Welsh Springers, were shown together as one breed because the only difference at that time was their color. The Welsh grew in popularity, the breed came to America and was recognized by the AKC in 1906. And the breed failed to gain the support it needed. By the end of the World War II, it may have totally disappeared from America. New imports, and luckily new supporters, arrived in the Welsh, had enjoyed a steady, if modest, popularity, as not as flashy show ring as the English Springer. The Welsh had made up for its in field. It is all-purpose, all-terrain hunter with a keen nose and a flush for the retrieve over land and water. So this dog does look funny, but it actually has a lot of good uses. This is a pretty good hunter spaniel, or a type of spaniel that hunts. I believe there was a hunter spaniel that we talked about before. But now you know about this cool dog's history and how technically it's all a type of mystery and all could have started with a big bang bang. But what's the temperament of this dog? Is it mean? It could be a good hunter, but it could be mean. So the temperament of the Welsh Springer Spaniel is that it's less exuberant than the English Springer. The Welsh Springer Spaniel is steady and easygoing. It still needs plenty of hard exercise, however, as it loves to hunt for birds. It is extremely devoted to its family, but it's independent in nature. It is reserved to strangers, some may even be timid. A sensitive breed, it requires ample socialization, so social life. If you don't know what that means. So now, you know this dog is pretty social, pretty cool, pretty tempered, but it can still hunt. So, what's the upkeep? How do I keep this dog up and running? Well, the upkeep of the Welsh Springer Spaniel is that the Welsh needs daily exercise. I don't know if that's just speaking on the Welsh in general or the Welsh Springer Spaniel, but the Welsh need daily exercise, which can be met with long walks on a leash combined with strenuous games in the yard. It especially likes jaunts a field and makes a good hiking companion. It does best dividing its time between indoors and out, The coat needs brushing once or twice weekly. It also needs occasional scissoring to neaten stragglers. So this dog needs a lot of work, but it's a pretty good hiking dog. That's good to know. Now, if you're a child, please cover your ears, for you do not need to know this part. If you are a teenager or an adult, please grab your notebooks, because if you own a Welsh Springer Spaniel, this is good to know. The health of the Welsh Springer Spaniel is that major concerns are CHD. Minor concerns are glaucoma, otitis externa, and epilepsy. It's occasionally seen with cataracts, which is sad. Suggested tests are on the hips and eyes. Just keep an eye on it. Get it? Got it. Good. And the lifespan for a Welsh Springer Spaniel is 12 to 15 years. Wow, this is an old dog. That's pretty good to know, though. Before we get to the finale, we need to know the form and function. You don't have kids, you're a hunter. So what's the form and function of these dogs? The Welsh Springer Spaniel is a hunting dog. It should be hard, muscular condition. It is no way a breed of exaggeration. It's slightly longer than tall, compact, and possessing substance without of coarseness. It strives for a powerful and ground covering. The coat is flat, and water and weather and thorns and nuts so it's exercise, and the hindrance in the dog's work and flushing spaniel. The expression is soft. Looks kind, is a hard worker. Very nice. This is the type of dog you would hire when you're doing an interview. You should be like the Welsh Springer Spaniel. Look kind, but work hard. But now it's time for the tier list. 5. 5? 5? Well, 5 is the best, better than the rest. 4 is good, okay. 3 is better, or pretty much average. 2 is worse, oh no, oh gosh. 1 is the worst it ever can be. Now let's get to the tier listy. So, the energy level, exercise requirements, and playfulness of the Welsh Springer Spaniel is at a 3. Average energy, average exercise requirements, and average playfulness. Not very playful, unless you want to be playful. The affection level is at a 4. The very loving. The friendliness towards dogs and friendliness towards other pets is at a 3. This is kind of good news, but friendliness towards strangers is at a 2. So, invite your brother. You don't like your brother, this dog can bite it. The ease of training is at a 3. The watchdog ability is at a 4. The protection ability is at a 2. Surprising. The grooming requirements at a 3. Pretty high. Cold tolerance is at a 3. Heat tolerance is at a 3. Average. The weight of both female and male Welsh Springer Spaniels is 35 pounds to 50 pounds. That is a wide margin. Wow. And the height of a male Springer Spaniel, average height, is 18 to 19 inches, and for female is 17 to 18 inches. I don't know who's been measuring all these dogs to get this type of mathematical average, but who knows. Oh my gosh, we are finally out of the Spaniel family, because next time we are going to be reading about... I'm kidding. So, hope you guys do a fantastic, wonderful day. Be polite, be efficient, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed the Springer video that's going to come out soon, as well as the new dogs that we're going to be learning about, because, oh my gosh, these dogs are adorable. So, yeah, hope you guys do a fantastic, wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!